Guys, y'all can both comment maybe on 2 scrimmages in, no more scrimmages, where y'all are in camp. You know, what stage are y'all at?
You got it.
Yeah, offense has come a long way since last year. I think we're light years ahead of where we were last season about this time. Second scrimmage today, a little bit more polished than it was last week. Last week we had a lot more penalties. This week we cleaned them up a lot. Receivers looking great. Running backs hitting holes. Patrick Kudus really stepped up. Played 2 center really well today. Did a great job out there. And overall, good cohesion on the offensive line, and defense really pushed us today.
Yeah, for the defensive side, like I said, for offense, I see them. They've been doing really good things. Receivers, running backs. I mean, we're deep in a lot of groups. And for defensive side, we look really good. I mean, D-line is pushing really well. I mean, we can go from 1 and 2 deep and both be really effective. Linebackers are playing really well. I mean, I named about 6 or 7 guys in there that are looking to be 1s or 2s, looking into it. I mean, Coach Shear's got a handful of guys in there that can go play. And on the back end, I mean, I think the back end, our depth is so good because we have so much experience back there of guys playing and being in games, being in hostile environments, and knowing what college football is. So, and the young guys are catching on well too. So, I mean, for the whole group as well, for the back end, looking really good.
Jalen, Coach just said that Jordan Dominic really had a really good day. Talk about what he did. Had you seen the improvement? Because they say he struggled the first couple of days. He's really coming on. Talk about that. And then Latavius Brinny, too, if you can, about how much he's kind of more comfortable now. So
Starting with Jordan. Yeah, Jordan's had a really good camp. You know, first couple of days, you get the little jitters and you with a new team, not sure what to expect out of a new team. So just trying to adjust and get his feet wet again. But once those first 2 practices hit, I mean, he took full strides. I mean, you can tell that he's a good player. And not just in a scheme standpoint, but just off his ability to rush the quarterback and chase him down as well. You know, he surprised us how fast he was on the D-line. So he's been doing really good along with other guys on D-line by helping him out. And then from Brinny stepped in and done really good things. I mean, he's came in and been that guy that could come in for anybody that needs it, you know. And I mean, also he's been mixed with the 1s and 2s. So he's been doing really good thing for us. And I think he's just long, athletic, and, you know, he can make a lot of plays on the field. So he's a good asset for our back end.
Sam said today that when practice started the first week of August, he never would have thought the wide receivers would be where they're at today, 2 weeks till Cincinnati. Talk about what both you guys have seen from the receiver. I know you go against them, and I know you block for them. So talk about that if you can.
The receiver group's been really good. I mean, it starts with the leadership in there too. You know, I think people like Ketron Jackson, Jaden Hazelwood came in and been a leader for that group as well. He's been vocal. And Matt Lanner's been a guy who's making a lot of good plays. And of course, everybody's talking Warren Thompson. I mean, he's came in and I mean, he's took a lot of good strides since last year, and he's been more consistent and making really good plays for us and doing the little things right too by blocking on the edge and just being assignment sound. So the offense is moving really well, and I think is a big part of it, not because it's just KJ, but it's because the O-line is doing great at protection, picking up the blitzes and everything, and then running backs running hard. And then when you talk about our receiving group, I mean, they're being consistent. They're making us the back end better because they're giving us such a good look.
Yeah, I think an underrated part about that receiver core right now is their ability to block on the edge right now. They're doing a tremendous job out there, providing run lanes on the edge that really helps our offense go a little more. I know Jaden Hazelwood does an excellent job when we get some wide zone going. He's good at fitting in there and fitting up. He's not scared to go hit anybody. And they, like Kat said, man, they're creating plays downfield, and it's forcing the O-line to get better and better at protection because, you know, what's usually a 5 or 6 second protection turns into, 10 seconds because these guys are making routes happen down there. We got to project them and make sure we can get the ball out.
Jalen, you missed the last 7 games, I guess, last year. And I guess all spring you were in a green jersey, kind of holding you back a little bit. How has your camp been? And have you had any interceptions? And I can't imagine anybody's more antsy to get going and play the first game than you.
Most definitely, yeah. I had an interception back in like 5th practice. And like I said, Hudson Clark had 4. I mean, he's been doing really good. I mean, the ball is just finding his hands and he's making plays. And Latavius Brinny had 1, just to mention those turnovers from the back end. But I think my camp's been really good. I mean, I've been trying to work on just being consistent and being a vocal guy more for the defense, being that guy that people can look at for energy or look at a guy that's going to go out there and strain, do everything he can for his defense. So that's been my part. But I think my fall camp's been really good. And to mention, yeah, 7 games I've been off. So yeah, you best believe I'm ready when September 3rd comes around.
And Dalton, I mean, coming into camp, we were all kind of thinking, man, he's back. I mean, who knows? But you said you got it fixed in the off season and you made it through all of camp healthy. How do you feel right now? And you feel like you're a guy that's going to make it through the season? Healthy
Yeah,
at the back?
absolutely. I was telling trainers and stuff, it's feeling great right now. Like I said, I think it was last time I was up here. It's felt great. I've had no issues with it whatsoever. I took the off season really seriously, and once docs told me what we had to do, we took care of it, did what we needed to do, and I felt the best I've ever felt since I've been here. Just old.
In what ways do you think you could be better? Because you obviously were so good before you got hurt. How do you think you could maybe expand your game? If so, how?
For me, it's just focusing on the key parts that I get from coaching I need to work on, whether that's just being in a stance or if that's making sure I'm reading the right guy, being the right leverage and man press or off man, just little details. I would say there's little things that I know I can add to my game or just kind of correcting my game to elevate it even more. But the main thing for me, I would just say it's from not even from a playing standpoint, just a leadership standpoint, just making sure I'm being vocal for the guys and making sure, because I know how, me playing this game for so long now and being here, I know how things can get during the season and even during practice and fall camp, it can get hard, brutal. So, guys, might have to look somewhere past a coach, to get that second gear to keep going and keep pushing. I just want to be that vocal guy for the defense and just be that leader on the field as far as between the white lines as well.
Go by, you like the experience back there. It's safety specifically, like guys like yourself and Simeon and Jaden and anybody else you want to bring up. I mean, how do you feel about the depth? And we know Barry Odom, he likes to play a lot of safeties in some
Most
situations.
Definitely. Yeah. Our depth is really great back there. And it starts with the Sim. Simeon Blair has been a really great vocal guy for us. High energy. I mean, and you could trust him. I mean, he's going to be assignment sound. He's going to know his keys and he's going to make plays out there. And like I said, Tavius Breen's been a great asset for us. I mean, he's been doing a lot of great things during camp, picking up things really fast. And I feel comfortable with him being out there with us. And Jaden Johnson, their guy, so versatile. You can put him at safety. You can put him at nickel. He's going to go out there and play it. He's another baller. And then from AB, Anthony Brown's another guy as a freshman that's came in, does some good things as well. And Ja'Cory Turner stepped up at safety as well. So there's a lot of guys you can go to. And you go to corner, you got guys like Hudson Clark, Kyrie Johnson, Ladarius Bishop, Malik Chavis, and then you got Dwight McLaughlin, who's been doing really good. And then Keywan Parker's another guy that's been out there being really good, being consistent for sure. So it's a lot of guys you can name that are out there doing their thing. So it's just too many.
Dalton, you mentioned you liked what Kudus showed at center today. We've seen him at left guard, right guard. Just what have been your impressions of him being a guy that wasn't even an early enrollee?
Yeah, it's really unique for an offensive lineman to come in with the knowledge he has and the ability he has. I can think back to probably most years I've been here, with the exception of Ricky, Bo, and Brady. Most of us weren't ready to play. And he reminds me a lot of Ricky when he first came in. His innate ability, his understanding of his body, and overall kind of aptitude for the offense is a really, really unique thing. And he's done a tremendous job no matter where he's been at to be put in there. Obviously, you're going to lose some reps, but overall he's up positive on everything. And I know the coaches are high on him and offensive line loves him in there.
Jalen, it sounded like last scrimmage there was a lot more explosive plays by the offense, long pass plays. I guess there weren't as many today. Was that a point of emphasis for y'all in the secondary?
Most definitely, yeah. For me, especially when it came to the back end, I mean, I made it known that last scrimmage, I mean, they had too many plays out there. We had to compete out there and go out there and show what a defense can be about, especially from the back end standpoint as well. So I made that a statement, and we came out there and we played really well. We're still a couple mistakes here and there that we got to clean up, but they're easy fixes for sure. But as far as the defense, I think we played with a lot better energy today, and we were a lot more vocal and a lot more into it. Not saying we weren't last scrimmage, based off what I heard, but I think this scrimmage we're definitely more, upbeat, and we're more prepared and for the tempo of how the scrimmage is going to be. So I was proud of the defense too, and offense as well for giving us that great look and playing good as well.
Dalton, Sam said today that
Landon Jackson flashed at defensive end. I'm curious if you've had any run-ins with him, one-on-ones, matchups, and just what your impressions are of him.
He does a great job. He's a long guy. He's a long rusher, and he's got the ability to create separation on the edge that some DNs aren't able to do. He does a great job with speed to power as well too. I think we had a pull play today where he might have gotten into one of our guards pretty good. But his ability to kind of extend on that edge is really good. He's got a lot of power out there, and I think as he progresses more, as he develops the speed to bend and really press that edge, he's going to be an excellent pass rusher.
You mentioned Hudson's got 4 picks in camp, right? And Sam said he's been as consistent as any corner through 2 weeks. Just what have you seen from him in camp other than the big plays, and how was he, I guess, maybe holding down one of those starting jobs?
I think Hudson's making a point to where he wants to work on every little thing that he knows that's going to make him great. And I mean, it starts, he asks me questions like, hey, what should we do here? How can I do this? And I give props to Dwight McLaughlin. He's came in and been a good asset as well, not only playing, but helping guys out and making sure everybody has their technique down. So he's been focusing on his technique and really just focusing on that. And you can see it translate to the field. I mean, he's working his technique and he's just in the right position. And, I think he has a nose for the ball when he's in the air. He's always around it. He's going to make a play. So he's had a really great camp. He's been very consistent. And I mean, the sky's the limit for him if he keeps, going the way he's going.
He got magnet hands.
Yeah.
Dalton, Sam talked about how Terry Hampton has been a guy that's really helped generate pass rush. I'm curious what you've seen from him. We've kind of heard a lot about him over the past week.
Yeah, absolutely. Terry's a strong dude. He goes head to head with Bo in there sometimes, and they're pushing against each other, and it's like Clash of the Titans in there. They're both big, strong dudes, rooted into the ground, long arms too. Terry does a good job at disrupting with his power, and that's something that you see a lot in the SEC, and he's fitting right into the scheme perfectly of what Coach Odom's trying to get out of that defensive line. And when they run those pick twists there, like, you got to be really on it as you're a tackle dragging, because he's going to come and try to rip your head off if you're not. And he's just overall, I think he's a great presence on that defensive line.
Jalen, we've heard the past 2 weeks in scrimmages that Rocket Sanders has had some big catches, I think 20 and 30 yards maybe. What have you seen from him as a pass catcher and also as a runner, being the feature back with Dominique Johnson out?
Rocket's that guy that's he can beat you in 3 ways. He can beat you running through you, running around you, or making a nice move. He's got great speed, and he's just a complete back. We have a back that can go out and catch the ball the way he can, knowing that he has a history of being a receiver as well in high school. It expands your offense like no other, because you're able to do things with your running back. And I think he's been really consistent with pass blocking as well. I know we've met arounds, and when I'm blitzing to go and meet him, I know he's a 6th guy to get me, and he's done a really great job of, protecting KJ back there as a 6th guy. So he's been doing really great things. That running back room is deep too. You got Dove, who's been here as a freshman. He's been making good strides. And then AJ Green's another guy who's put on some good weight, and he's been running the ball hard as well. And, when Dominique's back, I trust that he's going to be ready to go, hungry. So our back core is really good. And it's really dangerous if all those guys are clicking.
Can you talk about Andrew Chamberlain and Marion Harris, 2 freshmen that came in, tall kids, are big and getting some work on the second team, maybe because I know part of it's because of injuries, but they're still getting a lot of action. Talk about what you've seen from those 2.
Yeah, they're Coach Kennedy calls them the Little Rock Towers. There's some big dudes out there, and he's a strong dude, and he plays guard really well. I think this last week of camp, he's really learned to kind of rip the governor off. As you come in as a young guy, like, you're trying to do everything so perfect. You're trying to make everything sound, and it's like you just got to run off the ball sometimes. And this last week, he's really flashed and showed that. And he's a strong dude who understands the offense really well too. When he's in there, he's always checking for help, looking on the edge, checking the tackles to go get a piece of ribs if they can. And Chambly, I couldn't ask more out of a tackle for him. He's done an excellent job. He stepped up early in camp to fill that 2 left tackle spot. It's a hard position to play at left tackle. You're putting your best edge rushers out there, and he stepped up. He's done just as well as anyone else out there. And I've been really happy with his ability to make the calls that he needs to make out there and to hold up on 3rd downs as well too. He's a hard worker.
not asking about recovery time or anything, but you guys see Dominic Johnson around. How's his spirits? And I mean, just I guess being part of a team, but not being able to practice, you know what that's like too.
Yeah, nah, he's the clown of the offense. I mean, every time we get done with practice, I mean, he's gonna be dancing, he's gonna be hyping people up. I mean, he's been a great energy on the sideline as well. I mean, I know he's ready to get back, but he's definitely, for anybody in a situation. I mean, I've been there. I mean, it's tough for you can be down, you can be wondering, man, like I wish I was out there, but he's consistent, rooting on his guys, making sure, giving details or tips to the running backs, just being engaged next to Coach Smith. I mean, he's around engaged. So that's something that you can respect about a guy in this situation, not being back yet, to still be a part of the team and making sure that everybody in his room is doing the right thing and just being a good energy and being that guy that people look to when it's time to have fun and, relax a little bit.
It's still hot out there. It's in the 80s, but after being pushing 100, high 90s, how nice was this week? Maybe it was in the 70s or the 80s. You guys were going a little earlier. Maybe how does that help your bodies recover and just maybe get more out of practice?
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, for me, it's different because I love the hot practices. I just love it. Like I love it's like almost like adversity. I love it. I love it. But I mean, in reality, I get, it's good to have some nice weather, old linemen sweat less, so it's better. But yeah, I mean, it's good to have both sides. We're gonna play in both types of weather. We're gonna play in hot weather. We're gonna play in cool weather. And then when it gets later in the season, you got a couple of games where it's gonna get cold out there as well. So we'll be able to experience that as well. So, I mean, I think Coach Pittman's done a great job with the schedule, making sure that we get both parts of the weather. We'll get the cooler and then we'll get the hotter weather. So and then time wise as well when we're practicing to kind of acclimate ourselves to both where we play 11, 3, 6, doesn't matter. We kind of face, all types of weather. So I think we'll be ready for either whoever hits us.
It's definitely a love-hate relationship for the offensive line. We love it when it's hot out because it makes the defense a lot more tired. It also makes us tired. And we all love the cold, but it's been very beneficial that whole first week pushing those 100-degree heat days and whatever the heat index was. But coming out in the morning, it cool down. It lets you not lose as much when you're at practice. Your muscles can recover a little faster through hydration and everything. And it was definitely an asset for us to also train for. I mean, week 2 is an 11 a.m. kick, so we're going to be out there early anyway. So it's a good way to get us up early, get blood moving, and your mind right.
You guys are off tomorrow. I guess maybe you have to come in for treatment or something. But what's it like having an off day and camp? And do you do anything in particular, or just rest up, or what sort of stuff do you like to do on an off day?
I'm going fishing tomorrow. That's all I know. But yeah, I definitely got to enjoy it. You got to enjoy the art off days while you can, because you don't get many. So anytime you get them, you got to get recovered. And then wherever you're doing the outside, whether it's fishing, hanging out, enjoying yourself, that's something I like to do. So I probably just watch film and fish.
You like to do, Dalton?
I think I'm going to lay around all day tomorrow. I'll go get treatment. I'm going to lay down.
Jalen, real quick. We've heard a lot about Matt Lehner's making a lot of plays. You've played against the SEC speed wide receivers. I'm just curious, how does he compare to the guys that you've played against in the SEC?
Matt's that guy that is going to cause attention. I mean, because he's such a long guy and he's faster than what people think. I mean, he can move. I think he's probably flirting to be with one of the fastest guys on the team. And he can run. So he just brings that size and that threat where you gotta have eyes on, because if not, he can stretch you out. So, and that opens up the offense for a lot of other things as well, and then you got guys like Hazelwood that can do the exact same thing. And then you got Bryce Stevens, who's in the slot, can run as well. And you got Keytron, who's being consistent and coming down with balls that, that are tough, but he can do it. And then same with Warren Thompson out there. So we have a lot of guys that can stretch the offense, the defense out, and open up a lot of things for the offense in the run game, the quick game. So there's a lot of things that I know the offense can do because of those guys like him.
Thanks, fellas. Great job. Thank you, guys.